this ties to the role of weight reduction in diabetes and kind of the and what the body weight does with respect to sugar levels. So, Dr. Bindra, if you could share your perspective, and then Amit, if would love to get your perspective in terms of, especially with water solution and what you see broadly, the role technology could play in kind of fixing this kind of an interplay between the weight and the blood glucose.
Wow, that's a broad question. But in general, about 7 to 10% of weight loss will definitely bring down sugars. I think there's a large role of insulin resistance that is played, which is hard to say how much a person would actually lose. But traditionally, you would lose, if you lose about 7 to 10% of your weight, your sugars will definitely start coming down and A1C will improve, as well as blood pressure. There are various diets, which I don't think we want to go into today. There are a whole spectrum of them, and that would be a whole different discussion for another day.
Amit, your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, Dr. Bindra is a doctor. Yeah, reduction of body weight's of course important. And what we saw in our clinical trial is we saw about like she said, about a 12% body weight, which is one of the reasons we see those types of A1C improvements. I think as it relates to technology, we do have the ability, again, because we're monitoring so many different biomarkers and now have done that for tens of thousands of patients, in a bunch of different settings, we're able to help people figure out what, kind of what nutritional changes, what exercise changes, et cetera, they're making that's actually working for them. And so I guess the role in technology is to really help patients personalize, because of what Dr. Bindra said. There's a lot of different stuff going on, and, just having all that data. It actually relates somewhat similarly to the glucose monitoring question, which of course she answered so incredibly, because of the difference in the capillary blood versus the interstitial fluid. The other thing I'll add is that what we find is we sometimes have patients that have CGMs and that are also using a finger stick. And what in that case, what ends up being more important, as Dr. Bindra very likely said, is the more data you get, the more finger sticks that you do, the more accurate you'll start to see these two readings are, because of the time difference ends up being not as manageable. So anyway, all that's to say that my answer on weight loss and all these is like, yes, the data is really important. And that's where technology can really help, because you can start to trend that data and understand what changes you're making to really drive long-lasting change.
Well, perfect. As we say, if you can't measure, you can't, manage it.